So we talked about folders earlier. Well, yeah, I'll show you custom queries in a minute. We talked about folders earlier. Here we have our employee folders. So we have an opportunity to find a folder for a particular customer or a vendor or an account. You'll notice here that we don't yet have a folder for Sam Hastings. He has not yet accepted our offer letter, let's say. But I'll show you what one looks like for employee Andrew Lincoln. Maybe we decide, I only want to create a folder for an employee. I don't want one for every applicant. These are all the different documents, forms, letters, videos, audio files, whatever we may have, all connected in this folder. You'll see here that we have, 3 subfolders, all created automatically, and we have the documents themselves, organized in a predefined manner. And then we even have, opportunities when we identify that something is missing. We have the performance reviews, so you kind of get the general sense of what the employee folder looks like. Well, these folders can be triggered to be created whenever it makes sense for the business process. Once everything's complete, midway through the process, once an activity has taken place, and everything will flow in there accordingly. So maybe our trigger is he accepts the offer letter. Maybe our trigger is we create a new form. It doesn't matter. To show you, another example, I'm going to grab Sam's offer letter. So this is the letter, the word letter that we just created. Got my filter for Sam on there. Here's my offer letter. Maybe I want to make some updates to this. Sam, he's a young kid just out of college. All these kids, they're so entitled. Just kidding. You can tell I'm over 40. All right, so he wants to now be a senior developer. This kid has never worked a day in his life, but we're desperate for people. We're going to give him a little more money too. We've been authorized to give him 10% more. And I'm going to save the changes I've made to this offer letter as a revision. So notice I'm editing a Word document inside of OnBase and managing the revision. So I've updated his title and salary. And this is really helpful that, our HR generalist put this in here. And now what OnBase does is instead of that folder that has version 1, version 2, Colleen's edits, Katie's edits, final copy, updates, we stack them in OnBase all on top of each other. So in a hit list, you're only ever going to see one document, but you'll see that it has 2, 3, 4, 10, 25 revisions, whatever the case might be. And now I can come over here and look at these 2 revisions. Here's the one that I created. You can see they're created here 7 minutes apart. And I have the comments for the updated one. Any document in OnBase, doesn't matter the file format, can be revised, and we'll stack the revisions on top of each other. We can even segment privileges between revisions and versions. So maybe, Cindy and David are passing back and forth the new HR policy that's going to go out, and then at some point they say this is the final. Maybe they'll PDF it, or maybe they'll access privilege just to that final version and not all the drafts. Really helpful in like a contract scenario is maybe this contract is floating around outside of the organization. We get the copy back before we make that final approval. We want to compare these 2 revisions to showcase exactly what has changed. So now I can take that original offer letter where I inserted the senior developer and updated the $500,000 to $550,000, and all of that is outlined right here. I can save this comparison document into OnBase, but I can also just generate it anytime I need. So whenever you have a business process that involves revising content in OnBase, know that we keep track of those revisions from a who made what change perspective. We have the ability to compare what has changed at any time, and we stack the revisions on top of each other. So instead of 25 different items in a list and you have no idea which one is the most recent, who made the change, what has changed, we're going to provide all that information, and the one that you're opening is always the most recent. So when we go back to the document in a hit list, we only ever see one, but we know that there are 2 revisions of that content. So now from an OnBase perspective, we come back in, we now see that there are 2 revisions of Sam's offer letter before we even open it. So instead of seeing his offer letter in here 10 times, we'll see it once, and we'll see it 10 right on top of it. All right, so back to our folders. I'll show you just one more time. You'll notice that we do not have a folder yet for Sam Hastings, but we're going to create one. And we create one when he accepts our very generous offer. and we're ready to onboard him.